So, hello everyone. Welcome to day 37 of learning data science. And basically, what we were doing and what we are doing right now is like yesterday, I explained about the four pillars of object oriented programming, which is encapsulation, data hiding, data abstraction, polymorphism, right? We also discussed about the basic syntax of that, the basic code for that, right? So, now today, what we will be going to do, we will be discussing more of the object-oriented programming, the constructors and the function or method overloading. Okay. So what I will do, I will just open my spider here, and here what you can see is like yesterday we have discussed about, just give me a second. Yeah. Day before yesterday, we discussed about the object-oriented programming. We discussed about basically what is class. We discussed about what is object, and also we discussed about the encapsulation in data abstraction, how we achieve data abstraction, what is ABC module, what is abstract method here. Okay. We also discussed about inheritance, child class, parent class. We also discussed about polymorphism. Basically, what do you mean by polymorphism? Means like same function name, but different parameters. Okay. So now today, what we will be going to do, we will be going to discuss about the constructor method and function overloading. Okay. So basically, constructor here itself, you guys have come to know not much, but quick overview, you know that what is basically constructor and how we can create a constructor, and basically what does a constructor do. Okay, what is the functionality of constructor, right? So I just want you to write on the chat for comment section, what do you mean by constructor, and how we can, what are the codes, means like what is basically the use for constructor, and what is the syntax for that. What is the syntax for certain, means like how we can define a constructor. Simple way, you can write here def, and again you have to give here two dashes, because you can see it's one two dashes is there, then init, then again two dash you will give, and generally you will come to know uh, that this is the basic behind the constructor. And what is here? Self again here is a pointer. It helps us to point us to the object of the class. For that particular self is there, you can write according to your convenience. You can write your name, but again, it's not a good practice, because it will just hamper, means like someone who is using your code, he will not be able to understand why you have written your name, or why you have written any other variables. It's like to maintain the readability of the code, we use this. Okay. To maintain the readability of code, we use this. So now what we'll be going to discuss, we'll be discussing about the constructors. Okay. So basically, what's the code for that? Again, you have to write here def, then you have to use your hyphen. Basically, my that particular key doesn't work. I'm planning to buy a new keyboard. So till then, I will face difficulties, right? So I'm pasting here one dash, two dash, then I have to write here init, then one, two. Then here what I have to do, I can write here in anything. For example, I am writing here person. Okay. Before this, you have to use a class person, and I will write here self. I will write here name. Okay. And what I will return, I will return self dot name. Self dot name is equal to name. My instance name, my object name, object or instance name is storing the value of name of that particular person. Self here basically means the current instant of the class. Okay. So now let's discuss about what do you mean by class versus instance variable. Okay. Class versus instance variables, and what do you particularly mean by class and instance variable? Okay. And again, instance variables is none other than the instance you are creating it, whether it's within a function or object. It's like to define it in a single way, means like to understand in a single way. Instead of instance, you can write here object, class variables, and object variables. Okay. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by particular this term? So instance is some, you can say organizations, or you can say interviewer keyword. But yes, just stick to the instance itself. Don't call it an object. But yes, for you guys, I'm just using the word as object so that you can understand. Okay. Or otherwise, you might be confused that till now we have been hearing about class object from where this instance came, right? So you might be confused. So for better understanding of yours, I'm using here object as object variables. Okay. So basically, what do you mean by class? So you can just understand it in a hierarchy way. So for example, uh, we are taking a class at school. Okay. Class as school. So basically, whatever school name you guys are having, right? So it depends upon person to person, right? So for example, in my particular school name was Wig English School, right? Wig English School. So in my school, I wasn't the only person being studied there, right? There were various students, right? So what I will do, I will use a constructor here, and within this constructor, what I will write here, I will write here self, I will write here name, again I will write here name, I will write here grade, in which grade that particular person is studying, right? Roll number, subject, means like various things are there pertaining to that particular student, right? So again, I will point my pointer as self dot name is equal to name, and self dot grade is equal to grade. So basically, what you can understand in this is that a school is a class, right? So your school name is a class variable, and similarly, the student studying in that particular school is the instance variable, because for that particular student, his name is there, his grade is there, his roll number is there. Being means what? School is a class, and within the class of school, we English school is being identified as a school, and within that school, how a particular student is being identified that he is in that particular school by its name, by its grade. So these are all the things. Where, for example, in my schools, there were 3,000 students. 3,000 students were there from nursery till class 12, right? So within that, uh, all those 3,000 students have their unique name, not basically unique name. You can say basically their unique admission number is there, right? Their name is there, roll number is there, grade is there. So student is an object. Student is a object of that particular school. So these are object variables of my student. And this is the school variables, my class variables. Again, for example, if you're appearing some board, so there are various schools which comes into the play, right? Several schools were there. Like for example, Venus School was there, Hilltop School was there, Little Flower School was there. So basically, these are the class variables, and within these particular schools, several students were studying. So these are object variables, or you can say instance variables. So I hope it's been cleared about is the difference between class variables and what is the difference between instance variables. Instance oblique, you can write your object variables. Okay. Now, what we will see that let's print this value. Okay. So for that, what I have to do, again, I have to put a variable name as n, and here I have to write here school. Okay. And I will write here print n dot name. Okay. And before that, what I will do, I will just store my here in S1. I will store the value. For example, I will store here Avinash, and grade I will store here 11. Okay. In S2, I will store here Suraj, and I will store your grade 10, or you can say 12. Okay, and if I will print here s1 dot name, execute it one by one. Okay, oh, it's not happening. Huh, there is some issues with my kernel once, right? I have to restart my kernel once again. Yeah. Huh? I don't know basically what's being happened here, but the syntax behind this is the same way. If we will return s is equal to Avinash 11, then it will return you the object of that particular instance of my school, right? So no need to worry. What I will do in my untitled P1, just remove all this. I will restart the kernel, and here itself let me declare a class named as school. Okay, auto execute. Pass. Now will it work? Yeah, it's working. So I'm writing here his name. His name will be with English school, and and within it I will just pass my self parameter. Name will be there, grade will be there. Okay. And then again what I will write, self dot name is equal to name, self dot grade is equal to grade. Okay, and here I will write here S1 is equal to school. Okay, wait. They basically didn't call this function yet. Yeah, you can see here. Avinash got printed here. Okay, I'll execute this. If I will execute this as well, and I will execute this. Avinash got printed, and if I will use here too, and this, and what if I want to print my school name? So what I will do? I will just write here print s1 dot s9. So it's being this school. Similarly, you can create various classes. Various will be there. Like for example, let me create one another class, and I will write here hilltop, and my school one Suraj is there, right? So if I will execute this, so you can see whenever I was printing s1 dot s name, then Suraj got printed there, and Vinny's school got printed there. And what if I will write here uh, S1 name, and let me execute this line of code. You can see here Hilltop School got printed here. And if I will write here S1 also, Suraj got printed. S2 dot name. So I think you have understood about what is the object variable and what is the class variable, right? And again, if you want to change the name, so what you can do, you can just write here you can just write s2 dot name, and here you can write For example, you have to change from Suraj to Pankaj. Okay. And if I will execute this line of code, and when I will print this, you can see a Pankaj got printed. So you can change the variable of your instance. Okay. And if you want to change the school as well, so what you have to do, what you have to write, you have to write here similarly, school dot sname is equal to, you can write LFS, Little Flower School. Okay. And if I execute this line of code, and then if I execute this, you can see here LFS got printed. So similarly, you can change the class variable as well, and we can change the instance variables as well. So basically, these are all the class variables and instance variables. So basically, instance means object, and class means it's a blueprint. Like for example, you are using school, right? So this was basically of the constructor, and within constructor, this was constructor. Within constructor, we learned about class versus instance object as well. And now what we will be going to do tomorrow, we will be building one simple project regarding object-oriented programming. And thus, once we will build the project, then we will come to know all these things in detail. All these things in detail. Okay. So right now I am stopping here, and tomorrow we will be discussing about the projects. And yes, till then, what you can do, you can keep practicing at least 1,000 lines of code every day because I want you to sprint. And till then, take care. Bye bye. Jai Hind.